Hi, welcome to Tag Arcade. And in today's tutorial, we're going to fix that glitch where an enemy object explodes. Like all the nearby enemies will just pretty much scatter due to the force of the explosion. The other thing we're going to focus on is the GUI interface. So if this tutorial helps you out, go to my website, www.tagarcade.com, and click on this nice button on the top right hand corner. So let's go ahead and go back into Unity. And to fix the enemies from moving when there's a nearby explosion, all we have to do is go to our rigid body and check off all these boxes right here. So this will stop it from rotating on the XYZ position, and it will also force the object not to move in the XYZ position as well. So now when we hit play, and we're going to go ahead and shoot our objects, nothing else is moving, which is exactly what we want. But when I miss an enemy object, the bullet pretty much flies for a very long time before I could start firing again. So I don't want to wait that long, so I'm going to take my object, and I'm just going to make sure I move it in the Z-axis. So let's move it down, about here. Let's hit play. And yeah, it's right behind almost these guys. Let's see, what if I move it back a little bit more? So here we're in test mode, so wherever I move it, when it hits stop, it's going to go back to its regular position. So I got to make a note of this. It's about 34.3. So 34.3, I'm just going to hit copy. When it hits stop, it's going to go back. And let's go and make that 34.3. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And now if I miss, yep, come on. Yeah, so if I miss shooting someone, pretty much I could shoot again relatively faster. There we go. The other thing I'm going to do is going to hide this box collider, and the last thing is I sort of want to show like the bullet exploding too, because why not? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to instantiate, and I'm going to instantiate the explosion, but where the bullet is. So I'm going to say bullet dot position. So now I hit file save, and I hit play. That way we give the player a visual indication that we missed. Okay. And also, I don't need to be able to see this black, or not this black, but this white square. So I'm just going to hide the renderer, so that now, if I go ahead and miss by accident, I missed. I can shoot again. Lots and lots of explosions. Okay. Sorry about that. I get carried away in my own game. So let's go ahead and do GUI interfaces. So we're going to go ahead and create a new object. It's going to be a UI object, and it's going to be a text. Let's go ahead and double click on text. Let's change our orientation, and it's backwards, so let's fix that orientation. Zoom out. Okay. So here's my new text. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little crosshair here, because I want to lock my new text on the top left hand corner. And once I do that, come on, go away. I want you to go away. We're going to say score. And this sort of this black text is really hard to see. I'm not really doing anything with the sky. So let's go ahead and change my skybox to a nice black. What? Okay, skybox should be a solid color. So my skybox is going to be a solid color. Background is going to be black. But now I can't see my score that I just created. So let's go ahead and go back and change my score color to a nice white. Okay, so we got score. Maybe 14 point size is pretty small. Let's do about 25. And let's have it say score, colon, that, and 0. Okay, file and save. So when do I want to increase a score? Well, I want to do it every time one of the enemies get exploded. So what I'm going to do is I am going to first make a reference to here to our player controller. So I'm going to say public, and this is called a text box. So I'm going to say text, text. And right here you see text is sort of highlighted in red. And the reason for it is I need to declare another using statement up top. And because I forget what using statement that is, I'm going to look at my reference and go ahead and type text. So when we go to text, we realize that this is part of the Unity engine.ui. So that means when I go into my script, I have to say using Unity engine.ui. And now text is no longer in red. So we're going to hit file save. And on my player sphere, I am going to reference my text. Okay. So now, let's see, when I go down and allow player to fire, you know what? Before I do that, let's do a little something else. We're going to say public void add points. Actually, we'll just create another function called add points. And here I have to say private int score, with my score being 0 at the very beginning. So now when I add point, I'm just going to say score plus equals 10. So this means that every time we add a point, we add 10 to that. So what this means is when we destroy an enemy object, we're going to add 10 points. Actually, add points for destroyed enemy. Okay, file save. Let's go ahead and go to our destroy enemy. And if it collides with the player, player's allowed to fire, and we have to add our points. So player controller dot add points for destroyed enemy. File, save. I'm going to hit play. And there we go. And what I forgot to do is I completely forgot to update our score. So let's go ahead and go back to our script. Let's go back to our player controller and say text.text. Yeah, I know, that's confusing, right? Okay, to make it less confusing, let's just call this score GUI. And of course, we should actually make this a lowercase s, score GUI. So what I'm going to do is say score GUI dot text equals score plus score dot to string. So what I just did is, the reason why I said score dot to string is because score right now is an integer. And it's an integer like any whole number, 1, 2, so on and so forth. So in order to make this into a text, you have to write to string so that it'll convert the number 10 into the letters 10, so that it could say score : 10. And I can't, this is not score.text, this is actually score GUI. That's why score is, well, that's why .text is highlighted in red. So it's score GUI. Gonna hit File Save. Let's go back to our player sphere and re-reference our text. There you go. So score GUI, and say this text goes in here. So now when you hit play, hopefully, boom, I just got 10 points. Boom, another 10 points. And boom, there we go. 30 points as is. And now if I get destroyed, oh, I just get destroyed. So what I'm going to do is, if I get destroyed, I am going to say game over. Do I want to play again? So I'm going to say create another GUI text. Actually, rather than do that, let's delete. I'm going to copy you. So I'm going to say edit, duplicate. I'm going to move it over. There you go. I'm just going to say game over. And for this, I do want to center this in the center. And I'm just going to make the 0, 0, 0. And let's just change this to game over. Second thing I want to do is create a button. And this button is going to say play again. So I want to make a button, move it down, and I'm just going to say, well actually, where's my game over text? It's sort of weird because it's not centered. So I'm just going to change my alignment here to center. And now for here, let's change the width, I don't know, 20 maybe? Actually, that's my height. Let's undo. Change my width to something like 60. And let's change the text over here to play again. Okay, well apparently the width is not good, so let's go 80. Play again. So obviously I want this to be invisible when I start, so that's going to be invisible. My play again text has to be invisible. So I'm just going to call this play again text. I'll call this play button. And my game over text has to be invisible too. So what I'm going to do is reference all three of those. So now I'm going to say public text game over GUI. That should be GUI. Why did I call it GUI? I meant GUI. GUI stands for a graphical user interface. Okay. Okay. So public text play button. Public. Actually, it's not public text. What is my play button? My play button is an image. So I'm going to change that to image. And now the last one is my text, and that's my play again GUI. Okay. File save. And let's go ahead and reference all those three things before we forget. Okay. So we have my score GUI, which got unreferenced because I changed the name. So let's go ahead and go here to here, and I'm just going to rename this to score text. So we got score text, game over GUI, it's right here. My play button, it's over here, and my play again GUI over here. So let's go ahead and go back, and if I get destroyed, okay. So if you noticed, we're actually writing code like multiple times, and it's the same code. So destroy this game object, instantiate the explosion. And that's actually very bad in programming. You should never have to write code multiple times. So let's go ahead and create a new function, public void destroy player. So I'm just going to copy you. Oops. And I'm going to paste it. Going to take my destroy player and have it once over here and a second time over here. And that way, when I type in my game over stuff, I only have to do it in one location. So let's copy this, all those three. I am going to paste them here. And I'm going to get rid of my declarations. Okay. Then all I'm going to do is say dot enabled equals true. Oops. Copied dot enabled equals true and paste it for my other three or my other two. File save. I'm going to hit play. And now when I get destroyed, I should be able to see game over. Game over, play again. And when I hit play again, nothing happens. Makes sense. So now we have to reference what happens with that play again button. So I'll just add it to my player controller. Why not? I'm going to say public void play again. And the easiest way to do this is to reload the level again. So I completely forgot what that should be. So I'm just going to say application, I think load level. Yep, application.load level. And that's all you need. Application load level. And let's go to our script. Application load level. And in my scenario, I actually called my level test. I don't know what you guys named it, because in all of my tutorials, we never actually named it. So we're going to say, I don't know, game. I'm going to call it game. Whatever you call this, that's what you should call it. I'm going to do file, save scene, and finally save that scene. And now I'm going to reload the word game, or reload the level game. Going to hit file, save, going to hit play. And hopefully, if I get destroyed and play again, well, actually nothing's happening because I forgot to add the script to it. So go ahead and click on play button. We're going to hit add. We're going to reference our player sphere, because that's our player. And this has to go to the player. What is... Where are my function? Oh, player controller. Play again. So make sure you select player controller, play again. Hit play. We get destroyed. Oh, come on. Okay. Then when I hit play again, nothing happens again. Ha. 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 So the reason nothing is happening is when I get destroyed, I destroyed my player object. And when I destroy my player object, I can't reference that script anymore. So that's a bad thing. You do not want to destroy the player object. So instead of destroying my player object, I'm going to turn off my mesh renderer. So what I'm going to do is I am going to find my mesh renderer. So I'm going to say private mesh renderer player. And I'm going to say, actually, not player. I'm going to call it player mesh renderer. Okay. And I'm going to say player mesh renderer equals this dot game object dot get component mesh renderer. File save. And actually, I forgot to do one more thing. Let's go scroll down, and I'm going to say mesh renderer dot enabled equals false. File save. I'm going to hit play again. Come on, play. Please play. Okay. Boom. Hit play again, and I get to play again. And why is everything like sort of gray all of a sudden? It's pretty odd that when you hit play again, the scene turns out gray. So I am going to figure it out and let you know in the next tutorial. If you like this tutorial, like, subscribe, and all the other good stuff. And until next time, have fun and keep on creating games.